All right, hey COD students, welcome to week 2 of our course Personal and Community Health. So a little wrap up on week 1. It was great to hear all about all of you and to see the interactions. I hope you found some similarities, some commonalities with people in our course and found some interesting facts about them. We are gonna move on to and as far as just kind of stuff I noticed, it happens quite often. A lot of you are looking at going into both education and nursing, so that was cool to see. We saw some people that were making some career changes and are just further educating themselves, bettering themselves. So again, great to see. I obviously am in the education field, and I can tell you it's a great field to work in, a lot of variety in the settings you can work in. And then I work with a number of nurses, and that also seems like a great field. Highly competitive as far as I know getting into the COD program, so I encourage you to stick with it. It seems like once you're in the program, it moves along pretty well. I see the nursing students in the hospital as well, and seems like a great opportunity to learn there. So let's look at week number 2. Week number 2, we're talking about our community. So you need to enter a post and answer 2 questions. So the first question, and I don't have it in front of me on the computer, but you can look at it. It's just, I want you to tell me about how your community, either past or present, has shaped or is shaping your health. And you can take this kind of how you want to. I just want you to mainly think about it and put something out there. So number 1, you can look at any aspect of health that you want, right? You can look at yourself right now and look at your physical health, your emotional, spiritual, mental health, whatever aspect of health you want to particularly look at. And you can look at any size of community that you want to, right? So you can look at a very narrow community, maybe the household that you grew up in, or you can look at a very broad community. You could look at the Coachella Valley, right? That community, why has that shaped you? Or maybe you grew up obviously outside the Coachella Valley. So a couple examples I can give. So if I was going to look at my health, like my physical health, and being shaped by my community as I grew up, I would look at my, the household my parents created. We were always very active, involved in sports and Boy Scouts and yada yada. There was an emphasis on eating healthy, mainly not so much spoken as much as just what was available, right? We didn't have a lot of processed foods, a lot of sweets or that type of thing. Most food was made largely from scratch. So that kind of shaped my health and back then, and also as I am today. I could look at the health created more recently by becoming involved in a church, and this was a few years back when my wife and I had moved back to Oregon. We got involved in a church, and I found that it really helped my spiritual health, obviously. And it's something that looking to maintain now that we've moved back to the valley, but just being involved in the church and just meeting the people that are in that community, that have established that community and that type of thing helped with my spiritual health. And so consequently I could say, look, moved away from Oregon, moved away from that church, so maybe like a slight hit to the spiritual health, right? And so that's something I'm aware of and attempting to work on. And then, so that's part 1, right? Pick an aspect of health as you have it now and tell me and tell us all about how the community that you have lived in the past or currently live in has shaped that aspect of your health. I think this is going to be great because we learn a little bit about each other, but you can be very specific. I don't mind if you say, like I said with the church, you could say, hey, I go to, my spiritual health has been impacted by going to such and such church here in the valley, or by going to this gym, right? Or, go hitting this hiking trail, because then maybe we can all benefit from that, right? Maybe someone can see the gym you go to. And most gyms are closed right now, I realize that, but let's go hiking trail. So they say, hey, I wish I could get out and hike. I didn't know that trail was there. And they go out and they do it, and we're building on somebody's, physical health. Part one, that's part one. Part number two, I want you to tell me how, because we talked about last time where you had some health goals. How can you shape your community, or even adjust your community, just completely change your community if you wanted to address those health goals? So, if you want to eat healthy, right? Could you create an environment within your home where sweets aren't there, processed foods not there, fruits and vegetables are readily available. I know my wife and I, to keep ourselves kind of physically active, we make it easy, right? I have almost a 2-year-old, and so her stroller is right there by the door of the garage. Tires are pumped up, and so if we have time and want to take her out, it's easy just to put her in the stroller and off we go, rather than it would be different if that stroller was maybe hung up on the wall in the garage, or the tires were flat, that type of thing. The other thing I would say is, an example I could give is, my wife and I, when we look at where we live, we chose this area, and we're kind of still in the process of choosing where we're long-term going to settle down. But some ways I could, and am working to change my environment is where do I want to live as far as the outdoors, right? In the Coachella Valley here, we have access to hikes, granted not in the summers, right? But we have outdoor access to the outdoors. But maybe I'm a beach person, and that's my plan is, I'm going to work to try and change my environment. I can't bring the beach here, but I can. Maybe I'm looking at, hey, I want to get myself moved a little closer to the beach, or a little closer to the mountains, because that's what I enjoy. And then, like I talked about the spiritual health, right? My wife and I, we could be thinking about, hey, can we find a church in the valley? Or, there's a church we know about, and it's a little bit west of here, and maybe we can make a move out that way. Or maybe we could make it a routine where we make that hour and a half drive out to church. So I want you to just kind of get the ball rolling in your mind where you have these health goals. How can you influence your environment one way or another to help you address those health goals? Okay, so you got 2 parts to work on. I'm going to keep this up for until Friday at midnight. Great job, like I said, replying to the first post. I would say, like I said, I think I responded to somebody, get your post in early. It makes it that much easier, right? Because if you get your post in, right, so there's your 5 points, your initial 5 points, shooting for that maximum of 20 with 5 points to every time you put something out there. You put that post out there for your initial 5 points, somebody replies to you, and then you can reply to that person, and that counts, right? So then there's 5 points and there's 10 points. And then maybe you go back and you read what they wrote on their posting and you reply to them. So it just gives you more opportunities to get the conversation going and build what we're trying to build here is an online community, as it were. So have a great week. Reach out to me if you have any questions. BK Fitzpatrick at collegeofthedesert.edu.